So it's
You
a
made it.
yeah, I mean, oh dear. I asked a few friends, and but they all have some other arrangements. So today I'm not sure how many of them will turn up. But I think
Oh,
down
it's
the track,
okay.
if this is yeah, if this is momentum, I'm
It's all
considering
about
to. Mm,
it's yeah, it's all about momentum. We just keep things going one at a time, and we just it's always nice when we start a new call because what we do is we just keep things going, and then eventually everyone. I always say if we build every time I've built something,
mm,
eventually they come.
for sure, for sure, and everything start from scratch anyway as a
Well,
building.
this time we're not starting from scratch. We're starting from experience.
Uh-huh. Yes. For sure.
So I think
Mm,
the gift is the more that we do these around the world and the more that we
mm.
have team efforts and we keep moving forward, the more it becomes a lot more fun. Hello, lovely lady.
Hello, how are you guys?
Thank
Amazing.
you. Lovely to meet you.
Lovely to meet you too, finally.
Yes. Enjoy your Tony Robbins. Finally.
I
I'm
definitely
through.
will. Definitely. Already looking forward to receiving the thanks and totally focused towards it.
Beautiful. Beautiful. I also sent me the Lighthouse, the magazine project. I already clicked the summit, so I'm not sure whether you received it. Just
I'll
double
have a
check.
look at it. I haven't checked,
Yeah.
but I'm sure that if it's easy, everything goes to the same page. So we've been sharing it with the group, and we are definitely working towards it in a very magical and faster way than I expected.
Yeah.
So it's good. It's very good and thrilling.
Thank you for working on it. Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you.
How
How
are you
are
Eric,
you guys?
doing?
What were you talking about?
I just love the energy that you ladies are both exuding. It's amazing. I feel like I could just sit here and observe you guys talking. It's just so bright and loving. It's beautiful.
thank you.
Thank
Oh,
you.
Yeah.
Evelyn, I heard you are a healer.
I am. Yes.
Oh, what
Yes.
do you do? Actually, how do you actually help people to heal?
I created my own method
Mm.
with the spark that an understanding and magic that also Eric did. I passed it on to a program. So for me, it was always individual sessions and going through what the person needs, which is very, very important. Um, and it's called Five Senses. It comes from connecting with five senses, and it's called Sacred Senses. So it basically, I'm a Taurus. I'm a passionate being, and I understood that for myself, a way of coming back to center, I really needed to stimulate all the senses. And this is something that nowadays is very present in many practices. It's not something that I discovered, right? Um,
Mm.
though within the energy and the awareness and the practices and the tools that I've worked with for many, many years, I linked um, aromatherapy, I linked everything related to sound, to taste, herbs or cacao. I connect with the person before they come, and
Oh,
I understand what is needed for the person. If it's going to be a personal session that I will be present with and be active on it. I also do the same with the program, though with the program it takes um, the shift maintained with time. The session ignites something, and then the process goes on their terms a little bit more. With the program, I can definitely guide them and support them and held that space throughout that time that they are experiencing the shift, which are more than one shift within the program. With the session, people, for example, like me before, that I used to work, constant and maybe, I don't know, 90 hours a week, or the 9 to 5, and then after that I would continue with texts and emails and this and that, and not really have the opportunity to come back to center. The session will allow them to start connecting with parts of themselves that they have never been aware of. And after 3 days, I might be in touch with them, and they are going through a deep emotional shift, though they don't see it as part of the session. I know that it is. It's very beautiful. It's kind of a soul initiation.
Beautiful. Oh, talking about five senses. We recently had a session about connecting with the source through five senses. I believe everyone may have some supernatural ability. Everyone has it. It's just a kind of hidden or maybe not explored or maybe forgot how to use it. Let's say if there are five senses, I'm curious, just curious about for both of you. What are your stronger point of to sense? Because, for example, there's a vision, hearing, taste, touch, and sense, right? Oh, no. Smell, vision, hearing, taste, and sensing, right? Oh, sound.
Touch.
Yeah. So which one are you guys feel like more sensitive?
Go ahead, Evelyn. Go first.
So my ability comes from understanding that we all have God in us. And it's not limited to a sense. Though when we come up to an understanding that those senses, once connected to the heart, ignite abilities that can be called as supernatural, I think that one could be stronger than other. But the truth for me is that I feel like what Eric said at the beginning. Oh, I feel your energy. So for me, it's always about the feeling of the energy and the vibration that is all around us. You can feel it through, for me, stimulated by the sound of the birds that are coming at the right time, the impact of something, even it could be sound, it could be visual, it could be touch. Sometimes you feel things. Once you come up to an understanding that we are all one, we can perceive it in every sense.
Beautiful.
That's how I feel it.
Yeah. Wow.
For me.
How about you, Eric?
For me, it's an alignment. It's in the past it used to be one at a time, and now I can perceive things all at the same time, and so I'm very aware of my situation, and so I can feel things that are happening, and at the same time, that kinesthetic experience also helps me activate the visual understanding. And I'm also then listening to not just what's happening or being said, I'm listening to the way somebody says it or the way the sound is coming through. And the waves in that allows me to then pay more attention to my feeling inside my body, to that kinesthetic exchange, because there's water in my body, and 85-90% of that water, it's based off of vibration, frequency, and energy. And so when we start to understand that we're really all energy and frequency, and we've nurtured that inner being of that body, then that activation of what I say, it comes through a deeper resonance because it's all coming from a healed space. And so this allows a change in the chemistry of the environment, and as a result, it allows to come through, and it makes people feel it because I feel it. It makes people hear it because I'm sharing it with authenticity. It makes people see it because they see my physiology. And in terms of the smell, it's based about, my my perception is based off of making sure that the environment is in that. That's why I love nature so much.
Yeah.
For
Wow.
nature, we start to create from that environment. So
Wow, that's beautiful. Beautiful. Wow.
What
Thank
is
you
it
for
for?
sharing your experience. Mm.
May I ask, what is it for you?
mm,
For me, um, my style is knowing. I think a lot of time when I have inspiration, it's just some answer, boom, will come to me. And then I didn't know that was actually the creator is communicating with me. I thought it was just inspiration. And I always kind of go with my intuition, like what I do, what I say. But of course, there are ways I need to still improve, right? Slow down or be listen carefully. So knowing is very strong. I gradually build a hearing. I can feel
mm,
like I can communicate with them with the messages. Start with a simple word and start to communicate, asking questions, getting the divine download the answer, I would say, because their wisdom is there. Yeah. Gradually build a smell as well. It's very interesting. I can sense the smell of the soul. Kind of. Yeah, it just started to be very, very sensitive. In some environment, I can just smell like a heaven flower, that kind of smell. But some area you can smell is very stink. Before I didn't know, but now I started to develop that kind of sense. Yeah, hearing test. I think that the vision is the weakest at the moment. I can sometimes see pictures, images, but many of my friends, they can boom, 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 they can see something, right? Like, well, anyway, so it's developing of those five senses more about connecting with our divine higher being and follow their guidance, communicate with them, and to become a better self. Yeah, that's my experience. Mm, it's very fun.
Thank
Oh,
you for
wow.
sharing.
So about this conscious leadership, Eric, what would you like to lead, or where shall we start? What would you think?
Well, I think I have a little bit of a presentation that I can really cultivate because I think it'll be fun. And so for anybody that's watching back, it could be a great way for people to tap into their inner leader, so
Sure.
that they can activate these senses that we're talking about, and then maybe at some point, be initiated into a different perspective of seeing the world's view from a different map of the world. And I think that this gives us the identity to help people understand that leadership, exchange, business, it can be done like I like to call it business nirvana. And it also allows us to kind of preempt where we're going because we are also launching the business incubator with Paul next week. And as we're out launching that business incubator with Paul, we're gonna then also be able to activate people within their own business nirvana. And then as a result, start making more of these revivals come to life around the world. So I'm excited. Both of you ladies are such meaningful ladies to me. I'm very grateful. Like Evelyn is really helping, with the magazine, developing so much momentum and really serving and also helping us stay organized. And I heard from Paul today that you and Paul are going to meet and connect and spend time. So I'm grateful because you guys are gonna understand the depth of my soul because you'll understand you guys are both deep people. And then Joanna, I'm very grateful because you're also going to be helping lots behind the scenes in implementation and things like this. So I just really want to acknowledge first and foremost the service and the support that you both have uh, really stepped into, but also not, but also, and also you've already been doing before coming here. So I just really think this, you're just beautiful beings, and I really love and adore you both.
Well, thanks for the opportunity to collaborate and create something together. Really appreciate.
Yeah, I'm excited. So, I'm gonna share this because I think it'd be valuable. And then also I'd love, what your ladies' thoughts are, because this has been years ago I made this. And it's interesting how uh, I really have to look back to see how far I've come. And then I realize, wow, I was pretty wise man talking about all of these things before, and I didn't really, I wasn't even aware of them, like consciously. It was complete unawareness. However,
You
it
surprise yourself, yeah? You surprise yourself. Yeah.
a lot, a lot. Yeah. So let me pull this up.
I'll say that's the
And
beauty of the inspiration. Sometimes I did something and then suddenly I look back and say, oh, did I say that? Oh, did I do that? Interesting.
100%, and you're, by the way, thanks to you, this actually came to life. This call came to life because I appreciate you reaching out and saying, "Hey, Eric, I'd love to collaborate," and then you're like, "Let's talk about conscious leadership." And so you've given me the opportunity to really share some of my insights of my experience. So, this is really what I call, conscious leadership, and it's interesting because in the past I would always talk about this and like how business nirvana is really the best place of how we can really start to cultivate conscious cash flow, and
Mm.
so this is something that, still back then I was very much focused on only direct response, but strategy is really the emphasis and the key component of really bringing a change. And so I always ask myself is like, why are we here? Why am I here? Why are you here? And so the question always started to become is, if I'm here for a greater meaning, then I need to start making decisions from an empowering state. Because if I'm choosing to live for a greater purpose, then I have to think in that capacity. And so I kept asking myself these questions. And so what do you ladies think? Like, why, when I ask this question to you, why are you here? What would you say?
Joanna, would you like to start? Or would you like me to?
You can go first.
I'm gonna use a word that everyone does, but the meaning behind it, I would love it to be transmitted and understood in a very deep way. I am here, and not only here, I am here to serve, bringing more. And when I say light, I'm not talking about wishy-washy, spiritual, new age kind of thing. No, bring true connection to ourselves, for myself first, and keep growing, as you shared, Joanna, before, because it takes a lot of courage to understand that, we are humans and we make mistakes, and integrating those part of ourselves is very, very important. It's, for me, the key to move forward, to be serving with love, and not only just love, but unconditional love. And to allow everyone to understand that we all have this magic that Joanna shared at the beginning. We all have these gifts, and we are here to serve them in the best way we can, with the passion thing that ignites our light. So if someone loves the environment, then they will devote themselves to work for the environment. If someone loves law, they will devote themselves to change the law into a more graceful way. If someone loves engineering, okay, what's my purpose of bringing that and making it better for humanity, rather than, okay, I'm going to go back into the same state of everyone else just because I know that this gives me money, no matter what happens later. So is service for my highest good and the highest good of all. That's why I'm here.
Beautiful. Thank you.
I love it.
Wow, beautiful. Thank you.
And by the way, that is one of the reasons that I get so inspired every time that we talk, Evelyn, is because you're willing to own that and you always share it. Joanna, sorry to interrupt.
No. Why you say ask this question, why I'm here for? I'm thinking the question is why I'm in this group or why I'm in this world or why I'm on earth.
Well, you get to
But
decide what meaning you give it.
that's the same actually. Why I'm here for this moment. Because I think that's who I am. I be myself, becoming my true self and finding my true self and living with it. Because I found out my soul mission as working with a team and to get involved within my soul power of teamwork and networking to help myself and others to keep growing. And this word of growth is just so crucial for me. Whenever I'm, whichever moment or location, environment I'm in, if there's a growth involved, I'm just supernatural happy. First of all, start from myself. And I know love and happiness is always start from within because we can't give something we don't have. And if we naturally love and happy, we can then send out this kind of vibe to others. Well, that's why I'm here because of love, because of my soul mission, because of who I am. Yes.
So when you say who you are, and I think it'd be nice to hear it from both of you. Who is Joanna? Thumbs up. I love it. The thumb just went up for some reason. Who is Joanna?
I'm a courageous leader and courageous soul warrior. Um, on the journey of becoming myself and also help others to gradually find their true self and radiate the light together.
I love it. Evelyn?
The word that came was I am who I am and I am enough.
Yes.
Amazing. Gorgeous.
Yes.
I am that I am. Yeah. How about you, Eric? Can we ask you this question?
Oh yeah, you can ask me. Of course. Thanks for asking. So for me, my mission here is to be loving and courageous and to empower others and myself. And so for me, it's really just creating, focus on creating, not just creating. I mean, I create a lot. That's like my magic. So I get to create with ease and grace, and doing it with ease and grace is really what allows me to be playful. Because the moment that I start needing to get into all of the dynamics, and Evelyn really knows this about me, is I get into the mind and I am like, hey, we have to get this done. And then I get into when I get into the head, most people can feel it because my ego is very powerful. And it comes from a very it still comes from here, don't get me wrong. The coherence is there, right? It's just that it comes from like, I have to get this done, get out of the way, or I'm gonna figure it out myself.
Yeah. So with you.
Right? So when,
Yes.
when it comes from this playfulness and this ease and this grace, people want to be part of it a lot more. So
Yes,
I do
for
my
sure.
best to keep myself there, which is now why we have amazing Paul to be also a huge part of that, because his grace behind the scenes with straightforwardness and the
Mm.
way that he serves the team is and focusing on the marketing and business side allows me to relax my central nervous system so that I can go out there and attract more energy,
Mm.
which
Beautiful.
is really amazing. And really that's what we're doing is like I'm just gonna go over this because I think that most people, and this is kind of like why I believe there's so much value in building momentum, really getting momentum, having clarity in who we're capturing so that people can find their clients as healers, leaders, people of the light, so that they can focus on taking this wisdom and really directing that wisdom into their ability to deliver their reach, but making sure that those leads become profitable, because that is where I believe our family of light on a global level really needs grounding. They need grounding, and they want grounding more than ever. And they just haven't found somebody that truly understands them. And so it's important for us to come together because we are now relatable at such a higher state of awareness that from here we're really creating that raving fan advocacy to then as a community, as a light, as beings of light, focusing on really creating this revenue so that people can stand in their power, stand in their presence, and really own it so that they can serve through their passions and not with their mind. And this is where it gives us the capacity to turn our experiences, our X factors, into our big whys. And so I believe that because of my experience, I've built a lot of momentum up for our community to really start to be able to cultivate even more so that they can have the sincere certainty that they're going to be guided to creating even more than they ever thought that they could. And so that is what I think is like, hey, I remember being this artist that was all like doing, and I would be building, and I would be doing everything. And that's what I am. I'm a creative that builds. I'm a builder. I am and I believe that a lot of our fellow family of lights are artists that just don't understand how to integrate their visions with ease and grace, which is what I believe is been my mission. So, this is when I lived still in Australia. But I was always a spiritual being, and I didn't realize the depth of my soul. And like, this is so fascinating because just so you know, ladies, like this presentation is 3 years old. It's 3 years old, and so the space of where it was coming from is like, hey, I just want to be in service to people. I just want to be adding value. I just want to be really identifying and understanding, like, hey, I want to be playful. I want us to have fun. I want us to create, and I want it to be easy because when I was a young, these two, and they still are, the greatest, they're the greatest cheerleaders. They have guided me back from such a depth of uncertainty and healing. Like they're the greatest healers, these two. Because they were able to heal me back into existence. This is me just after rehab. We went to Medjugorje. I was a crack addict, and then they took me to Bosnia with them. And I spent 8 weeks after rehab with my parents in Europe. And they're just full of life, as you can see in their face, like without these people, we need to. And it's interesting because the greatest healers, the one thing that I always learned is like there was so much value that they were giving and giving, and the thing that the outside world was not doing was seeing how they can actually monetize and take care from that giving, from that love, from that integrity. And this to me is profound because for two people to be able to bring back their son to life is, for me, a miracle. You know, it's for me, it's a miracle. And this is really my journey. You know, this is how I was able to open up to going from unseen to feeling unstoppable today and evolve as an artist. And the first stage was really, as you saw, me with my parents there, feeling unseen, you know, being young as a boy, really not understanding what I'm here for and asking myself these questions of who am I? Why am I here? And having some sort of grace of this like devotion of understanding that hey, there is so much more to life, but I didn't know how. So my escape was drugs. And you know, the world told me that money was gonna be make me happy. So I needed to go out there, and it didn't matter how. As a young boy, that's how I wanted to make things happy. And I felt very unseen in myself. I felt very unseen in my experiences. And my hallucination at that point, looking back now, is that it was because my parents felt unseen, right? My parents were struggling in the reality of life, and every time we would come home, there was be some sort of a argument about things outside versus the magic within. And but however, the beauty was that when we were in that harmonious exchange, that there was so much love, so much love. So it's fascinating how unknowingly parents pass on traumas because of the conversations that they have in front of kids.
Oh yes, 100%.
And to me, this was something, it really affected my nature. It really affected my my internal work. And feeling that layer of feeling unseen is something that has allowed me to go back now and say, like, where did that really come from? Because, and I know now where it came from, and I, you know, it's like something today a friend of mine said, make sure you blame effectively. And my parents carried that from something else as well, right? So it's like it's not even their fault. It's something that where that was been passed down to again. And so I was like, no, 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 no. I'm gonna figure this out. I'm gonna figure this out because something here does not make sense. And I don't care what anything happens. I would do whatever it takes to really evolve to really the next stage. And this stage was a very long time to evolve because it was almost a decade between that picture and really feeling into this conscious creativity. And that decade consisted of me, that thing from feeling unseen to feeling seen, it consisted of me of going back to university. It consisted of me working, you know, every weekend at the bar, you know, competing, doing steroids, having a marriage, losing a marriage, because I didn't really understand. So I tried everything that society's expectations had told me to get to that place of feeling seen or having a vision for greater part of myself. It was interesting. It's like everything the external world that's told to go to school, get a house, get married, buy a car, all these things. I did. And I aced it. And I was still unfulfilled. By the time I was 27, I got married. By the time I was 30, I was divorced. So what is going on here? Why is it something I follow the blueprint of life? I was very effective to be seen in the world. I went to university. I was very active in university. I was doing my designation. I went into the corporate world. I was doing everything that was supposed to be perfect. And I got married, and I had the white picket fence and all these things, and I had the nice cars and everything that was supposed to, be satisfying. And by the time I'm 30, I felt miserable. I felt worse, like I wanted to go back and use crack. That's pretty sad. I wanted to go back and start using drugs again
Oh,
after being clean for 11 years. Something's not right with society and its expectations. Something doesn't make sense. And I kept asking myself these questions. And it was when I finally spent time with Tony that I was able to break through. I was able to discover that there's a deeper path of meaning, and that spending time with a leader that I really could understand, it allowed me to step into some sort of functionality, because what I needed around me was a reason. And, Tony says this a lot, is like a reason comes first, answers come later. And by learning to listen into my own heart first, and then having somebody of reference or a frame of reference in front of me to say, hey, there's a different path that is possible. And that different path that is possible, it could be very meaningful if you choose to step in. I was terrified. I was terrified. It was all in the head. I was terrified all the fucking time. Like, I was scared. I didn't have a clue. But the point is that I took action because I realized what my dad told me since I was a young boy. He said, just follow this. If you feel it, you follow it. And my father has always told me this since I was a young boy. If you feel it, follow it. If you feel it, follow it. If you feel it, follow it. Of course, granted, I was, completely out of this and in my head dead when I was smoking crack. The point is that nature, it stayed in me. And actually, the reason that I even quit crack was because my father asked me a question. If you can't do this for you and you can't do this for yourself, can you do this for your future self? And that question changed the paradigm in which I was able to observe myself. And it was almost like he put me back in my heart space in that moment. It's so beautiful. So by really stepping into that space, it allowed me to really understand the depth of our true nature. And and then I needed to, as any man does, or at least for me, I needed to go practice these cognitive concepts, because in my mind, Tony was still teaching me concepts, right? I didn't have the research, I didn't have I didn't have the experience yet to really understand what he's telling me. I understand cognitively, but I didn't understand the emotional connection to it. And although I may have had emotional intelligence, I was completely unaware to what I was even saying. I just told you that this presentation is almost 3-4 years old. Except now it's coming from a aware place. I was doing it just out of feeling it. So I didn't even see myself. How could I? I didn't have the concepts. I didn't have the experience. I was just being.
It's the intuition as well.
That's what I mean.
That's all.
If dad kept telling me just follow this, imagine how many situations my father was in that they took him away from his heart. This is what I'm saying. My father has lived out his legacy based off of being in service to this soul right here, and my mother as well, and they have devoted their lives to their hearts. And what I'm saying is that they have been born into a reality where it was not allowed. And so imagine their confusion. Imagine the incoherence. And imagine the fight of that struggle, of that And so that layer of compassion is like infinite for me, because I know at the deepest levels, it like it really, I get it now, and it just makes so much more sense. It makes so much more sense. And me traveling around the world, wanting to make money and figuring out how to make money, and then not even sending any money to my parents because I was all about the money. Like that's such egoistic bullshit. Like, these are the people that saved my life, and being all about the money because, oh, I need to understand these concepts from Tony, and then I need to like make sure that I find myself, and then not thinking about anyone else except myself. Like, this is all societal construct. This is me. I own it. That was my responsibility. That was the man that I was. It's all comes from the insecurity and the scarcity of a perceived notion of what society projects to most people. And so this is something that I was not so conscious of. So although I may have been functional in leadership, I wasn't a very conscious leader. And that's what I had to really start to find myself. And so I literally went back down the paradigm to going to completely unconscious, where I allowed myself to discover what and who I truly am, and letting go of it all, because that's when I was able to start to actually build a bigger and more profound vision, something that's not about me. And then I was able to step into the functionality to then rebuild myself, to then start influencing the people around me. And so this is where I started to influence nature and people, and the experience. And then as I focused on that and went around the world, it allowed me to then offer more value to people. And from that place, really see how we can harmonize and work together, because that's, I think, the most important component, is discovering how to really work together, to be unstoppable, to see what's possible. And so I believe we can all do this. I believe that to create lasting change, we need to start, but we need to go against the status quo. We don't need to fight it. We just need to go against it by being an example of possibility, meaning that we can change the way. And it's all about taking action. It's all about making sure that we're standing on top and taking action and stepping into our power, because from here we can really start to share our stories with ease, with grace. And so I'd love for you ladies, because it's kind of like, I know you both kind of shared briefly before, is talking about why your experience has put you to where you are today. And I think it would be nice to just hear briefly from each of you, is what brings you here into the experience of your life, to say, we've heard the whys, we know that your purpose, but what experience does it come from? What's the story behind it? Maybe if you can share from your soul, who wants to start?
It's your turn, Joanna.
Right. Well, for me, it's definitely my personal journey. I 100% like resonate with what Eric said. I used to be heavily rely on my brain, and at the time I wasn't conscious before I had my soul awakening. So I was on the mode of go, 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 do, and get it done, and like that kind of masculine energy status. I started to grow and experience, because, like I already said, we all experience something, and there's a profound meaning behind it. I started my business as a professional, and I need to delegate things to other team members. And I work with different VAs and had a lot of challenges, because those kind of controlling, I was controlling freak, by the way, because of insecure. So from that, I was like a demander other than a supervisor or manager. And I had a lot of challenges about communications, about emotions between the team members. I couldn't get things I want, expectations, all those sort of things. And I gradually learned these are not the right ways, and gradually going to a stage of collaborate and delegate. Delegate in a way that I in a position that I can see what's happening and gradually find out the ways to evolve and improve. But still, I'm in a position of not that consciously aware, to be honest, because I was still using my brain to manage, use this word, not the lead. I started to gradually step into a leadership role. It's one I, first of all, I had my soul awakening and become conscious. Actually, it's because of I started to be aware everything around me happening. There is a lesson behind. And for example, just three simple words my spiritual mentor connect with my source give it to me, make me aware of my weakness. For example, patience, consistency, and assertiveness. Those kind of things happen with my children, happen with my family, also happen with my workforce.
Mm.
Because I start to be aware of the areas I need to improve, I actually, whenever I experience something, I notice, oh, there's something I need to improve. That's whether it's my head, like what Eric said, is my head or is my heart? Be aware of that situation first, then adjust my situation, gradually going to the flow of my heart. And gradually, because I had practice on those concepts, I give those things to myself first. I found it's like a puzzle. Like when it works on myself, it naturally just flow out to others.
Yes.
Every aspect of my life changes. It's like a puzzle. It's like a ripple effect. So I realized I started to step into a leadership role other than just manager because I can on a different dimension looking at a view as visionary and explore other people's potential. It's more about empower others and to help other leaders become a leader. So in my company, for example, we have a culture of leadership training. Like I love to help others become a leader. I'm on the journey, of course, first of all, and at the same time, I help others become a leader. And it's a journey to grow together. Again, growth. Yeah, grow together and to create something wonderful together. This is my personal journey. Start from becoming a leader and a conscious leader. So these two words are so crucial for me. And I love it dearly. And it's related to my soul mission too. Thank you so much. Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Thank you.
So much.
Thank you. Well, you?
It's my turn. So today in the morning, I was thinking this, I was understanding that for me, we are, once we choose to, we are all meant to be leaders of our lives. Therefore, we are all leaders. The thing is allowing ourselves to be there. And for me to be there, yet I keep working with myself a lot every day. I believe that the experiences that I've had with illness, with separation, with loss of family members and friends, with readjusting my understanding of not being a people pleaser, because with time I started understanding that this magical sacred senses thing that I do and I want to bring for the world through energy healing and through the tools that I use, I've been doing it all my life with all the people that are around me and all the people that I love and all the people that I care. It's just that I did it in the wrong way. I moved myself so that I could allow the other person to be. And as you just said, those beautiful words, once we are here and we can be who we are, is when everything starts shifting. And with that, it's acceptance of the ones that have to part, and we lose. We don't lose, actually. If we choose to, we can continue a harmonious relationship from a different perspective, from a different angle. And that is part of leading, is leading our own life, is being able the other person to become that person that they are. And it's so beautiful to see. I still yet believe that there is a long way for me to go and to keep learning from it. And I'm very, very grateful. Being a mother, sorry, just one little thing more. Being a mother is, I think that what, after the illness, is what it ignited me to see. I do not want my daughter to live the things that I lived. I choose to change for myself and for her. And she yet will have to live the things that come to her, because we live from the experience and we need to learn from those experiences. Though, as your parents did for you, I am working diligently with myself to stay healthy so that I can continue holding that space for her. And yes, I'm done.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I think one of the things that I hear from you often is, Evelyn, is like you've had fear, but you've done it anyways, and that's really beautiful. Is like, even though we may have it, we still do it.
Oh yes, we
Even
have
though
to. It takes
still
time, though. That's the part. That's the, when you were talking before, if you don't mind me sharing something, you know, when you went to the mind and you were working from the mind, and it's hard for you to work from there, because I know I do that a lot. If I have to be in the corporate world and talk from business perspective, I kind of separate myself from my soul a little, because I need to be here trying to, the word comes, digitalize everything, control, right? And what I feel is that patience and the understanding that each one of us have different conscious levels, where it takes time for one to the other to come and merge. Like, I work with mosaics, right? We are unique pieces, different shapes. And once we start putting together, there is something that links each one of us. Until that sets and really comes together, takes a little bit of time. Patience.
This is where the coherence comes in, and I find that there's power in the pause, and there's power in the peace, and there's and as a result, you know, I can speak with clarity. This, again, from my experience now, and the coherence comes from not needing to rush the conversation or anything that I have to say anymore. Now it's about taking the time that I need, because I know where it's coming from. So I'm not thinking or searching for it in my mind. I'm allowing it to come to me. And that's the unique difference.
Like with Paul and with all of us, with Joanna, it comes.
That's right. And it will continue to, because it's massive. I've learned, again, from doing difficult things and doing those difficult things over and over and over again, that the pattern actually is becoming easier. And so now there's no fear associated. I used to have a lot of fear. Now I have none. I don't have any fear. There's no fear. I created this courage. I created this man to become resilient and find a way. Like there is nothing in this world anymore that will challenge my inner nature to know what needs to come and what needs to be created. It's just it's not happening. And so I'm not this is not gonna be the membership site. This is gonna be the business incubator. But really focused. Like that was the time where I was an online authority doing all these online businesses. But the point is that we are going to empower and encourage and emphasize that more people's stories are told, that more experiences of their lives is need to be activated so people can really activate their own why. And the more that people can activate their life, they're like, oh my God, how do I do this? How do I do this? The real truth is just more vulnerability, more sharing of their own story so that they can start to become and be creative online, be consistent, build the trust. Like this trust factor is literally, remember, I was teaching this 3 4 years ago. I was teaching already this trust factor, and what I did is I just went out and did all of these things. I became extremely consistent, vulnerable, authentic, solution oriented, aware, resilient, trust, passionate, social proof, inspired, credibility, connection, and resonance. I built all these things. This is how I built my brand, literally following my own intuition. And so this is something that I know that we can all do because I had somebody that took care of me. He took care of me lots. He gave me a lot of space in the rooms. I was, the most intense in that room all the fucking time. And most people thought I was nuts, and he loved me. And he still does. He still does. Whenever he sees me, he smiles and it's always so funny. Every time that I'm at the events, he always goes to this one part, and at one part he says energy, and he always stands right in front of me, looks me right in the eye, and says, energy.
Oh, dear.
But in that picture that I just showed you, is I remember telling Tony, in that picture, I said to Tony, I said, Tony, I'm gonna carry on this legacy. I said that to him, like straight in the eye. I'm gonna carry this on because it touched me so deeply. And he looked at me with this beautiful smile and just like said, brother, you're gonna create your own, man. And it was the most beautiful thing because he empowered me to not need to be like him in that moment. In that moment, he doesn't, I mean, he probably knows. And it touched me so deeply because in that moment, he gave me the permission to do something unique in myself. To my unconscious mind, right? Like, it's like I don't need to compete with him anymore. I could stand on his shoulders. I could love on him because we're guided by the principles. And that's what I love about him so deeply because he believes in autonomy. He believes in sovereignty. That's what this man stands for. And I'm excited, Evelyn, that you get to experience him, really soon because this is something that is it's for me, it was what I needed. I needed a good component of who do I want to spend my time with. And that really became clear to me as I needed a role model. And that role model was Tony for a long time. And then after Tony, it became my heart. It became spirit. It became the nature. It became the jungle. And I started learning to listen to myself. And so as a result, I knew that the proximity that I was creating, that it would eventually, this is why I created the Resilient Minds podcast, interviewed over 200 people, continued to navigate, continued to travel to build people around the world, because I wanted to just give much more than I ever expect to receive. And I just knew that at some point in time that the revival is going to come. And it's coming, and it's why I'm doing what I'm doing now. It's why I'm meeting with partners all over the world to really build, because I've built this trust factor. I've really built all of these components. And so, long story short, and I don't need to go through all of this stuff because that's all the mastery of Paul in the incubator. And really understanding that for me, it was actually just about surrendering to this journey. It's like I knew since I was a little boy. I knew it. I knew it so deeply since I was a little boy, and that I'm going to be fine. I'm going to figure it out. I just need to keep following this. My father kept saying, follow this, So if my dad kept telling me that, and my mom kept nurturing me, and our great teacher put me in the environment for that reason, to literally follow my heart. Our beloved teacher put me in the environment to be around and make absolutely certain that I can fucking make this happen. And I know it now. There's no fear. There's just none. I know it now without a shadow of a doubt, what I'm here to do and why I'm here to do it. And I'm grateful. I'm so grateful to get to be in that service, into that state. And we all have our roles. We all have our responsibilities. And I'm grateful because even as a little boy, hey, let's go to the park and play. Now the park is just bigger. Let's play all together.
You've been, if I want to share something. You say, I know it now. I met you a year ago. You knew it then. And I'm sure if I speak with people from before, you knew it then as well. You live what you preach. And it's very difficult to find people like that. So thank you. Because for me, you've been an inspiration all the way through. And you've seen me in moments where I was very ill as well. And choosing to act, and you bringing me towards this community, no questions asked, whether I was going to see Tony or I wasn't, or whether I followed someone else or wasn't. It was, you opened your space, you opened your heart, you always had the time to listen when I needed. And I'm very thrilled and grateful that Joanna made that ticket appeared and you were willing to share it with me, and others from the community as well stepped into and gave their things. So I just want to say thank you. I think that you deserve every single beautiful thing that is coming your way. Thank you.
That was just so touching to hear about your story. Although I know about Bits and Pieces, but it's a picture of every one of us come to this world with a certain, let's say, script, drama, script, whatever setting. But all those scenes, all those challenges, hurdles, are really actually to cultivate us to become who we truly are. And there was a reason behind it. I used to hate challenges, but now I fully embrace it and appreciate what they give us. Just very touching with that journey. Thank you for sharing. And we can all become truly conscious leader on this journey. As far as we're on the journey, we will become. Actually, for that, I want to share one thing I learned from. Actually, it's from my creator, the source. They said the leadership is actually to help everyone to become the best version of themselves, and that's why we're here for.
That's beautiful. Thank you.
Let's do it together. We can do it. We can
We are doing it.
We are doing it. Yes.
We are doing it.
Yes, we are doing it.
Yes. No more future. It's
Turn it off
now.
now. Yeah. Ah, so lovely. I think
And I
that's
think,
what culture is about. Like, let the emotion flow. We are
right.
human. And emotion, I used to be blocked, but now I feel like it's healthy to laugh and cry whenever we feel like it. It's flow, right? Yeah. And there's where the understanding, acceptance, and eventually empathy and compassionate come from. It's a foundation of the flow.
So, by the way, I believe that the resonance of anger and whatever darker emotion comes through, I believe it's just as sacred as joy.
Mm.
I believe that it's just as sacred. You know, people think that having the intensity or the anger is not something that is, you know, oh my God, I have to be a love and light. Like, no, the shadow is a powerful being. The shadow is what makes things happen. And
Mm.
when people integrate their shadow, ooh, the light becomes so much more powerful. Because then people take the light really seriously, you know, and that's what I love about emotion. That's what I love about intensity. That's what I love about knowing how to master thyself. Because from that place, we get shit done. We get it done. We get mastery created, and that to me is when we don't feel like victims anymore, and we use our emotional connection and our physical presence to anchor and work through it as a team. It doesn't mean that we're perfect. All of us have things that we need to work through. But what's the coolest point is working through it without needing to hide anything.
Mm.
Because most people want to be so perfect. They need everything to be perfect in front before they take action. It's like, get over yourself. Get over yourself because it's not about you. If it was about you, you would be number one all over the world. The thing is, it's not about you. If you keep taking massive action and doing what's necessary and failing forward and having the difficult conversations, then at the end of the day, we'll realize, more of us will realize that it's never been about the body. It's never been about this. Though this sometimes makes me fascinated, most times makes me fascinated because we allow ourselves to get into a disempowering story, and it's just because we choose to. And if we can choose to step into the empowering component of it, then we realizing that we are not broken. We've never been broken. None of us. We're just recognizing broken patterns, and those patterns can be shifted in a moment. And change now.
It's a decision with the courage, with actions, make it happen. Yes. Beautiful. So lovely to have a chat with
Thank
you.
you so much for that. Yeah, thank you, Joanna. Thank you, Evelyn.
Thank you both.
Thank
It's
you.
been a
Thank you.
pleasure.
Right.
So what
Have a-
next? Are we going to do this every week?
Yeah,
Let's do it.
yeah. So I invite us to continue doing this. Um, Evelyn, do you want to put it on your link with Joanna,
Sure.
and then I will come and join as much as possible.
Yeah.
And then I think it would be really great. And then we can invite more people just to really bridge this type of leadership gap. And if people need more value or focus on how to lead themselves, I'll put it into the calendar in the group, and I'll add your link into it, and let's really bridge, because what the mastery, right, of
your connection here, also ladies, is also showing how business and spirituality come together.
Okay.
And that's what a conscious leadership about.
Yes.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Thank you
Cool.
very much for the opportunity.
Thank you, guys. It's been wonderful.
Love you, ladies.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.